We hiked 86 kilometers along the Sydney coast in Australia and lived to tell about it. We're going to share that with you and the logistics of how we did it in this week's video. Where are we, Stevie?
Well, we're on a cruise. I know it doesn't look like we're on a cruise, but we're on our cruise on our way to New Zealand.
Yep.
I don't know where we're going. And I'm excited to tell you about the hike that we did along Sydney Harbor, 86 kilometers. That's something like 54 or something miles. All along the harbor. It was outstanding, and we didn't do it all in one day.
Right.
We did it. We were in Sydney for a month, and we took our time, and we're going to tell you all about how we did it and how you could do it too.
Right, and we were very intentional about it. Intentional in that we had a goal of hiking the entire coast, right?
Right.
But we did it in a very different style. So some people call this, so if you're familiar with some of the coastal treks or the coastal hikes in the Sydney area, some people call it the Bondi to Coogee. The Bondi to Coogee Beach hike. They also call it the Manly to Bondi or the Bondi to Manly. The Bondi to Manly is considered one chunk, which is about 80 kilometers, and then the Bondi to Coogee is considered the other chunk, which is 6 kilometers. It doesn't matter what you call it. The point is that there's a bunch of jurisdictions that kind of put it all together, and it's either the Bondi to Manly or the Bondi to Coogee. It doesn't matter. What it matters is that there's 86 kilometers of gorgeous, stunning, no view is not ugly hike that you can do on the Sydney Harbor. And what a great way to get to know Sydney.
Yeah, and it is so beautiful, and it is something that we want everybody to be able to experience this and do this. We had no idea. I didn't know really what Sydney was like before I got here, and when we discovered some of these amazing beaches and the trails and the hiking that connects them all together along Sydney Harbor and the waterfront, it's just, I think, one of the most beautiful hikes I've ever done.
Right. Well, speaking of that, I mean, as we're hiking along, we're like, what does this remind us of? Like, are there other hikes that we've done that are this quality, this world class? I mean, I don't think they're UNESCO World Heritage Trails, but good, they certainly could be. Like Cinque Terre, right? Cinque Terre.
Yeah, we've done some major, hiking in Italy, and of course, I'm not going to say anything bad about those hikes because they're fabulous, and you get to, hike between the different towns and stuff and in the hills. But this was equal, if not better, in the experience that we had.
Right. I mean, it's multi-day hiking, no matter how you classify it or call it. It was multi-day, like hiking the Camino. I mean, you get on it, you have a destination from A to B that you're trying to get to. The whole day is that hike. I mean, that's what this was. It was, Cinque Terre, it was a Camino, it was, Alta Via, it was all these gorgeous, amazing world-class hikes. So we will talk about the logistics of how you actually do the entire 86 kilometers at the end of the video. But first, let's just talk about the trail itself. So what were some of the conditions and some of the types of soil and things that we walked in?
Yeah, I mean, some of it we were just walking on a sidewalk, and some of it are fairly populated areas. So you get other people that are on the trail as well with you. But then you might head off into the woods and you're on kind of rocks and dirt path. But then there's a boardwalk and there'll be sandstone steps. We
walked on the beach in the sand. We walked on tidal pools. I mean, the trail actually went around tidal pools. There was a metal grate that we walked along and boardwalk. So all different types of textures to walk along. So, and I was really quite surprised about, I think because you have different groups kind of managing the trail, that's maybe why you got the different textures, or maybe even just the conditions required. I mean, that one, when you go around, I don't remember what point it was, that the trail goes down onto the tidal pools and you have to walk across the sea rocks.
Yeah.
So low tide is probably the best time to do that, but that was surprising and really enjoyable. And then, you get to the beach, you're walking along the beach, you can just throw on your swimmers, as they call them here in Australia, and go for a dip because it could get pretty hot and the water was pretty cool and nice.
Yeah, and along the way you see a lot of amazing things that we talked about. Mm-hmm. In addition to the incredible views that we saw, what are some of the plants and the animals?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how many ecosystems there are in Australia or in Sydney, but I think we walked through every single one of them. I mean, whether it was beach, obviously, We were on high cliffs. We were in dry woods, but where the eucalyptus were all gnarly and all from the wind of blowing the eucalyptus trees where it was dry. And then you go on the other side of the point, and then it would be rainforest and jungly and wet and moist and all these beautiful plants and things. And then we were up on top of the bluff, and it was like walking through Arizona or some of the high deserts in Arizona.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unbelievable. All these different ecosystems and little microclimates there were probably a dozen of them.
And we just were kept, pointing it out to each other that this was all like in the same day. It was like you turn the corner and you see a completely different foliage and it's a completely different.
And then there was the urban part where you're walking through the city, and then we had major bridges to go. I mean, we crossed the Harbor Bridge, right?
Right.
And then we would find little secret gardens, or there'd be plaques along the way of some story of a citizen. Some citizen had found some kind of leaf in the water and they planted it, and it developed this whole garden. And then we went off the track a little bit and went over to this secret garden on the other side of the bridge. So and then there was signage along the way of the different flora and fauna. What kind of animals did we see?
What kind of animals? My favorite were the lizards.
The water dragons.
The water dragons, because they just sit in the trail and they're so well camouflaged. And and Chris would be the one that would jump.
And you don't even, all of a sudden, you're just walking along, you don't even see it, and then it will move, and then that's what jumps.
Yeah.
And then there are other little tiny lizards, spiders.
Spiders are very cool.
Yeah, I hope we can show you a picture of the mama spider with all her baby spiders all over the place. That was really cool.
Yeah, spiders are great.
Yeah, no snakes, but we saw lots of birds and different, amazing bird life everywhere. Yeah, and then, of course, all the plants and things along the way. So, let me see, what else did we... Oh, and then what was nice is, like Steve said earlier, all these famous places that you hear about Sydney, Bondi Beach, famous surfing beach, Manly Beach, famous surfing beach also. We went by the cruising sailing club where they race the famous Sydney to Hobart race every year on Boxing Day. So it was just all these little famous things that would pop up along the route, all the life-saving stations that, you hear about, the famous Sydney lifeguards, and there's all these different shows about lifeguards. We went by all their life-saving stations. So it was just cool.
Yeah.
This is cool.
So let's break it down. Let's give the top 3 reasons why you need to do this hike, and then we'll get into the specific. I guess part of that is logistics.
The logistics. It's stunning. Number 1, it is absolutely stunning. I said to Steve, the name of this should be "There's no views or no views are not bad. No views are not good. No views are not good." Stunning. Every place and it's not just it's another view of the water. I mean, every view is a different type of view and stunning.
Yeah.
Going by the rock pools, stunning. Going by the tidal pools, stunning. Going through the eucalyptus grove, stunning. All right, so it was stunning.
It's beautiful.
Okay.
It is. The word of the day is
stunning.
Stunning.
Okay, number 2, it's totally accessible. And what we mean by that is not necessarily that if you're in a wheelchair accessible, because it's certainly not that.
Right.
But it's accessible in that you can get on the trail really anywhere you want and get off it anywhere you want. You don't have to do a designated segment from A to B and the B to C to C to D.
Right.
It's just you can get on and off so easy.
Yeah, we did not do this trail from beginning to end, one segment after another, step by step, over a course of 7 or 8 days. We were here for 4 weeks, so we did it a number of different times, and we had some really long days where we got in, 10 miles, and then we had a number of shorter days. And because the system, the bus and the train system, is so good in Sydney, you could get to different points easily. And if you got tired and you're like, I'm just done, we're done, it's hot, I'm done hiking for today, you walk a few blocks and get to the bus stop, and you're home in a little.
And what was so surprising is you would be out in the woods overlooking the water, but within a half a mile easily at the most, 1K from a bus ride. So, but you didn't even know the road was right there.
Yeah.
So, and then also there's public toilets are all over the place. Water was all over the place, and
it wasn't.
Not everywhere, but enough to be able
you
to.
You could refill your water bottle in a number of different locations. So there wasn't water all over the place.
Right, and bathrooms everywhere.
Yeah,
and cafes. Our typical day was we would get up, it would take a while for us to get to the trail. We'll tell you about the logistics in a second. We would hike until about 2 or 3 o'clock, have the nice cafe lunch, call it a day, and go home, right?
Yeah. So accessibility, big check mark. You don't have to do it beginning to end, all in one shot. You don't have to worry about camping out or where you're going to get your albergues or, whatever.
Right, that's true. And it was moderately, I guess the third reason to do it is it's moderately challenging.
What do you mean by moderately challenging?
It's basically one big staircase. I mean, it's up and it's down, it's up and it's down, it's up and it's down. I mean, there is hardly a flat surface unless you're down on the beaches. The entire time you're going up and down, up and down. And
there were a few, you just don't remember that.
But it seemed like the entire trail was made up of mini staircases of like 5 or 6 steps. So 5 or 6 steps up, 5 or 6 steps down, 2 down, 3 down, 2 down, 4 up, 6 down, 3 up, 2 down, 9 up, 4 down. I mean, every once in a while you come across a longer staircase, but most of it was just this either a constant up or a constant down.
Yeah, so it was a little bit jam. Now there wasn't any scrambling on rocks or areas where you had to cross creeks or anything like that. In fact, the trail was in fantastic condition. I give a lot of credit to the city of Sydney here, or the people
different jurisdictions
that maintain the trail, because it really was in great condition.
Yeah. So what kind of footage what kind of shoeage do we put on our feetage?
Yeah, so I use a cup, actually, all my shoes. So I had my Keen sandals, worked great. I had my hiking boots that I wore one day, worked great. I had just my regular running sneakers that I did a couple of times. They worked great too. So
how did you decide among the 3 which ones you're going to wear every day?
I alternated because I didn't want to wear one pair, and I just wanted to switch it up.
So I wore my trail sneakers the entire time, no problems, just regular, trail runners. I didn't need boots. I guess a sandal would have been nice maybe for on the sand, but wasn't necessary. And one day I used my pole. The other days I didn't. I just felt like I didn't want to have my pole with me. I certainly could have used it. If you regularly use poles, you definitely want to bring them. A lot of the longer staircases had railings. But the shorter, the 2 and 3 and the 3 and 4 and the 1 and 2 steps did not have railings. So if you need a pole to do 2 or 3 steps frequently, that you definitely want to have a pole for that.
Yeah. So let's.
And then on water, I have my water bottle that we filled, and I carry that in a water bottle. I'll put the link. I love this water bottle. See how I can actually put it in my back pocket.
So sexy.
Yeah, it's shaped and fits right in my back pocket. I don't even have to wear a belt with it. I'll put a link in the description about that. But we just have brought snacks with us and the water, and we're fine.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, carry some light snacks.
And then, of course, with the bus passes, I mean, you don't even need a bus pass. You can just use your phone to tap on and tap off of the bus and the train, so you didn't even need any special transportation needs. So that's cool.
Right,
okay, so you wanted to say what?
I want to say just some of the bonuses of doing this particular hike, and I think the biggest one is you really get to know Sydney. And I had no idea. I know Sydney is a big city, but the bay is huge, and there's all these inlets, and we got to know all of them.
Yeah.
Plus, this hike actually goes through downtown. So it goes through the Central Business District.
Yeah.
So it goes right through the Botanic Gardens. It goes right past the Opera House. It goes right past the wharf. It goes across the bridge with the famous
Bridge.
Sydney Harbor Bridge. Sydney is a great city, and this is a great way to get to know the city.
I wonder how many local Sydney siders have done the whole hike.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, as we were hiking along, there were people from all ages, all abilities, and from everywhere. We met some people from Denmark, we met some Japanese, we met some Koreans, we met some Americans, met some Canadians. Did we meet any Australians on the trail? I don't remember talking to any Australians on the trail. We certainly heard them.
We talked to a lot of Australians. But that was, I think, another big bonus of this particular hike is that there's lots of people. Everybody is friendly here. It's really, really amazing how friendly the people are. And you just stop for a break, and somebody else stops, and you chat up a conversation. And it's a really, really friendly town and a great way to meet people.
So we've explained what the trail is. We've told you why you should do it. We told you why we did it, how much we loved it. But just real quickly about a logistics comment, just to kind of make sure we talk about logistics in that framework. So as we've said, we did not do the trail from Coogee all the way to Manly. We kind of did a little bit of, like, we went to the sailing race and we did part of the trail. We wanted to walk along the harbor bridge, so we did part of the trail. We were downtown, we did part of the trail. We were at the Opera House, we did part of the trail. On the very first segment that went from north out of Bondi,
Coogee.
Yeah, no, going north from Bondi up towards Manly. We went around the tidal pools, and then we're going up through this neighborhood. And it's hot, and we're going up the hill, and it was trash day, so all the trash cans were out.
I was like, look, there's a bus stop.
And it stunk as the trash cans. I'm like, we're done. And so we got on the bus and went up to the lighthouse.
Trash was just a one-off thing. We just happened to be walking
on
that
trash
segment
day,
during trash
day after Christmas or something. So yeah. But anyway, and then on other days we walked from the north to the south, and the other days we walked from the south to north. So we didn't actually do it in the 86-kilometer route that they did it. But the tools that we use were very, very useful. The first tool is the Bondi to Manly app. So there's a website that goes with this. There's also an app. As we've been showing you along here, we've showed you images. Those are from the app and from the website. It's a great app. It really breaks out for you how you can do it by segments if you want to be a real prescriptive segment walk through the hike, or you can use it as a guideline, which is what we did. The Bondi to Manly app does not include the Coogee part. We use the Coogee. I always say that wrong. Coogee part. We use Google to figure that out. But whether you use the app or the website, it is well marked. Mostly, you'll see signs along the way pointing where you need to go, what turns you need to take. Every once in a while, we had to look at the app or on Google to kind of go, are we supposed to go this way or that way? Because maybe a sign wasn't there.
A couple of times.
Yeah. But in general, follow along. If you have to ask somebody where to go, they'll tell you. It's pretty easy. So what I'd say in the 30 days that we were in Sydney, we probably hiked 12 of those, you would say? It probably took us 12 outings to get the entire 86 kilometers done. We didn't even do every single kilometer. We did a majority of them.
Yeah. And like you said, some of them we did let's do a full day of hiking. Others, we just went to one particular place and kind of pieced it together that way.
Yeah. So if you are thinking about hiking the coastal trek in Sydney, absolutely, whether you go from Coogee or whether you go from Bondi or whether you go from Manly or you start anywhere in between, just lace up your boots, get out there, grab a bottle of water, go. You can't go wrong. It will be an absolutely stunning and beautiful day or days. See you next time.